Welcome to another episode of the Tales from the Video Store podcast. I'm joined by Steve Rampton. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Steve Rampton. I am a caricature artist and illustrator, and I love horror movies.
It's kind of weird coincidence because I just found out was it over the weekend that Warner Brothers was going to try to remake or revamp Lord of the Rings. So we're going to talk about some really early Peter Jackson stuff, and we're just gonna kind of get into it and talk about the movie 1993's Dead Alive.
They're not dead exactly, they're just sort of rotting.
My wife is not so much of a horror fan. I mean, she likes some kind of spooky ghost stories, but she's nowhere near the fan that I am. So when I told her I was going to do this podcast, I told her, oh yeah, it's a Peter Jackson movie. It's early Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
And, she just knew Lord of the Rings. She knew King Kong, Lovely Bones, those movies.
Right.
And I was trying to explain it to her and explain to her what it was about, and she just goes, okay. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
It's very, to me, the way that I would describe it to somebody is like early Peter Jackson. I would say, do you know about early Sam Raimi with Evil Dead?
Yeah.
That those kind of movies, because it's, to me, there's a similar lo-fi anarchic filmmaking style to it.
Yeah.
And also the subject matter, of course, too, with the over-the-top gore to the point that it's not even scary. It's funny at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people are surprised, and I mean, some people are surprised too with early Sam Raimi, but I think Evil Dead and that series has gotten to a higher kind of cultural relevance than Dead Alive has. So that's kind of a marker for me to say, hey, if you've heard of this, that's kind of what you want to expect. Again, being a horror comedy, because Dead Alive is certainly a horror movie, but it's also very funny.
Yeah, it's more hilarious than it is scary. And
yeah,
it's not, cerebral, smart comedy. It's very slapstick, almost Three Stooges-y type of shit. When you add the over-the-top gore to it, the gore is not, it's not the shining elevator doors opening up blood.
That's odd. Usually the blood gets off at the second floor.
The texture of the blood is it's almost like ketchup. It's so thick. It's so you just can't help but laugh at some of the parts. It's such a unique movie. I can't really think of any other horror comedy that is as over the top as this one is. Also, as works as well as this one, because
oh sure,
yeah,
this very easily could have been hokey and just there's many points at which it could have not worked. The acting is, like you said before, it's over the top, but it's not cartoonish. Did you speaking again of Sam Raimi, did you ever see Crime Wave? It was I believe it was the second movie he made, and
I don't know.
It's not good. It's not a good movie, and part of it is because the acting is over the top, just like in Evil Dead.
Wait. I think somebody's with him. I'm going down there. Get away!
But it goes too far, and it's they don't, there has, even if you're going over the top, I think there still needs to be a level of taking your character seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's the characters, they're acting in a larger than life way, but they're still true to the character. They're still portraying real quote
Yeah,
unquote
yeah, yeah.
characters, and they're not winking at the camera, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like I'm thinking of Machete.
Sure.
Yeah, like that movie. I know a lot of people really like those movies, but I don't really find them to be that entertaining because it almost, like you said, they feel too much like they're like winking too much at the audience. That kind of takes me out of the movie way too much.
Cuban? Mexican. Oh, yeah, I got some of that.
Dead Alive, like it hits this nice little mark where everything's over the top and silly, but you can still that. I think it's just like they put a lot of craft in the movie itself, and that's what like keeps it from coming off so distracting. Like,
Well, I have a good example. So there's a scene where the main character Lionel, he's kind of distancing himself from the love interest, but then when he stands up, you could tell he's really choked up and sad about what he feels he needs to do because he doesn't want to get her involved in this crazy world.
Don't want to see me anymore?
It was a mistake. Sorry. Goodbye.
It's a strange juxtaposition, but it really works for the type of movie this is.
yeah, and also there's certain parts in the movie where it feels almost like a cheesy 80s soap opera, like the music and even the acting of it, but it's kind of laid out in parts where it just sort of fits that scene. And I think the part right before Lionel and Paquita first make love, they have like some little exchange, and he's like telling her like, you have to go, this isn't gonna work, and then he grabs her and kisses her, and he has like the music is cheesy and stuff like that, but it's just enough for you to like just enjoy.
Oh, Paquita.
The movie kind of like transitions tone wise where like it feels like a comedy, then it feels like a little cheesy soap opera, and then all of a sudden there's hardcore gore, and then it's all mixed together, and then it in this package that is Dead Alive, or originally it was called Brain Dead, I think it was called.
Yeah, I think it's only Dead Alive in America. Everywhere else it's called Brain Dead, I think. And I didn't see any reason why they did that. I don't know if you did.
I saw something that suggested that it was only changed because there was another movie called Brain Dead with like Bill Pullman or something like that.
Okay.
But I've never even heard of that movie, so So I wonder if like if you just plop someone down to see that movie who has no idea what they're getting into, like what their reaction would be.
I think it depends on if they enjoy kind of splatter movies and or horror comedies. So I think it really depends on the person's taste in films. Dead Alive at the end of the day is a romance movie.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
It's about two people that meet each other in intense situations, and without giving away the ending, it's the story of their courtship. I don't know if it is that word right. Maybe not courtship, but definitely their opening days of their romantic involvement.
Yeah.
They really do care for each other, and a lot of it is the two of them trying to make their way through this crazy environment.
Yeah.
And it's very sweet. The romantic aspect of it, he doesn't play it goofy. He plays it straight. And these people really love each other.
Like I love that moment. I'm not sure if it's before or after the famous lawnmower scene, but like she puts that like star necklace on him. She kisses him back. You can see like the spittle of gruel coming off her
Yeah.
lip.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a sweet scene, but just with like a sprinkle of silly. Watching it recently, like it's such a fun movie. There's no dull moments. The lawnmower scene is kind of like what people mostly remember from that movie, but like even just like little parts in the movie when he takes the baby out in the park, that's just a fun, silly scene.
It's great. Why would he do that?
Yeah, that's one thing that's always made me just laugh. I just love how
Yeah.
like he's watching like the other moms like try to feed the baby, try to like recreate what they're doing, but I think there's like a shot from inside like the baby carriage, but it's like in barbed wire and shit like
Right.
that. It's like it's silly. I think it's like punching it at one point and
Slamming it against the pole of the swing set. And one of my favorites is there's this random guy's watching him do it, and he's going, yeah.
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Hyperactive.
The way that scene is shot too, where it cuts between the little doll
Mhm.
and then the wider shots, it's clearly a grown man in a costume. It's hilarious.
Let's just describe the movie.
I kick ass for the Lord!
It starts off with like some kind of nature show or something like that. Like they were trying to track some animal. I think it's like a monkey or rat.
It's the Sumatran rat monkey.
That's what it's called.
Sumatran rat monkey. And I want to say two things about that. So if you watch Peter Jackson's King Kong, there's a scene in the boat when they're on their way to Skull Island. By the way, the expedition is going to Skull Island.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Dead
Yeah.
Alive.
Yeah.
In Peter Jackson's King Kong, there's a crate below deck that says Sumatran rat monkey. So
Nice.
that's a nice little Easter egg for people who have seen Dead Alive.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to say is that very opening scene. If you've seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it's the same location as when Aragorn goes into the caves to find the ghost army. It's this. If you've seen it, you'll look. I don't know what the real place is. I mean, obviously it's in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting landscape of like spiny rocks, and he used it in both movies. So it definitely connections to his other films.
Yeah. So that's the setup. There's what's the animal called again?
It's the Sumatran rat monkey,
right?
And it's a stop motion creature, and the thing looks horrible, but it's great. It's like something Wes Anderson would put in his movies.
It has like the look of what's that band Tool? I think some of their early videos were stop motion. It has like that creepy ugliness to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so bad looking that it's kind of endearing.
It's only a bloody monkey, for Christ's sake.
The other main star, I guess, would be Paquita, and she's having a chat with her parents or her grandparents. I'm not sure, about her trying to find love, and I guess into witchcraft or something. I'm not.
Yeah, I may be wrong, but I kind of read that as her grandmother.
I wasn't sure exactly, but she has this prediction about like how she'll find love. It's like this weird symbol with a star and this cross. It kind of looks like the Sailor Moon symbol.
I need to tell you about the moonstick. Only those with royal blood are able to use it.
As she's talking to her grandmother, Lionel comes in. I think he makes a mess and drops something. That symbol comes up like in the rubble that he made, and then from there she just realized like that's like gonna be the love of her life.
Be off him.
then we cut to Lionel and his mother. What's his mother's name again? Vera.
Vera, yeah.
Vera. The relationship that Vera and Lionel have, it's very psycho Norman Bates kind of thing going on, like the overbearing mother. There's like a little bit of mystery about who she is and what happened to the father. It's not that important for the story, but it's just kind of in there. Do you remember what he was first going into the grocery store for?
I think that's just the town grocery store, and he was getting groceries because his mother was having some people over.
She was nominated for some award.
You'll be pleased to know that your mother has been voted treasurer-elect of the WLWL, the Wellington Ladies Welfare League.
Oh, that's great, Mum.
And on Friday, the president, Nora Madison, is dropping by to offer her congratulations.
Wow, the president.
Oh, God!
She comes to his house because she was bringing the groceries.
Oh, yeah,
and
right.
She kind of tricks him into asking her to go on a date to the zoo.
Yeah,
so they go to the...
Yeah, she's like talking to him in a way where like she can't speak English.
Zoo, you know, animals, cages.
Ah, claro. I like to go with zoo. I go with the zoo.
Oh, no. You want to go to the zoo?
Yes, please.
Oh.
Right.
Or something like that. She's like, I take to zoo, you take me to, or something like that. And then
the next scene, they're at the zoo, and Lionel's mother, like you said, is overbearing, so she's following them. The Sumatran rat monkey is at the zoo, and he bites the mother, and then the mother gets sick, so they leave.
Look at this! It bit me. I've been savaged. And my dress.
Here, I help you.
Take me home.
Lionel and his mother leave, and they kind of just leave Paquita there, if I recall.
Yeah, I think so.
They leave her there at the zoo, and he takes her home to take care of her, and she ends up getting real sick, and she's doing makeup on her face or something, and like her cheek kind of comes off in a very disgusting but very hilarious way.
Yeah.
He tries to glue it back on.
Careful, it'll stick on crooked.
Yeah, it's gross.
And then things get crazier from there, I guess. Right. I mean, and then there's zombies, and you know, I guess you can kind of picture what else happens in the movie.
They're not dead exactly. They're just sort of rotting.
Damn fine custard.
I guess as far as like zombie movies go, what like zombie movies do you think this sort of takes from as far as influences wise?
Probably the first Dawn of the Dead. Some of the makeup, some of the effects. Dawn of the Dead is very depressing, and it's a very downer of a movie. So as far as tone, not so much, but as far as some of the zombie effects and that sort of thing, I say a little bit. But I would say certainly, I've already mentioned it twice. Certainly, Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Groovy.
Yeah, this movie definitely isn't like shy about like its influences. There's so much. I noticed rewatching it. There's even like I guess you could say kind of a nod to The Exorcist when Zombie Baby like pukes on Paquita. Sure. I think it's a green pea soup.
I would say another one that comes to mind is you ever see Return of the Living Dead?
The punk movie, the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because I would say the reason I think of that one is like you said, the punk kind of anarchic aesthetic.
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It kind of has the same kind of chaotic feel to this one. And also, I mean, Return of the Living Dead, that's another one it's funny. It's
definitely
it's grotesque, but it's funny. And then also the two I forget their names. I think Frank and the teenage guy when they they get the gas in their face at the very beginning, and then they're just getting sicker and sicker. I kind of was reminded of that with Vera, how she doesn't die right away. She just keeps getting sicker and sicker.
Yeah.
Body parts are falling off, and she's just, Also, with them, the zombies in Dead Alive, they kind of have. They're not just the Romero zombies that are just like, they have personality.
Yeah, they have personality, but they also have urges, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And there's the fun, I guess, dinner scene with the zombies. I think he's feeding them custard. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That whole scene's great. He's trying to teach one of them how to eat with a spoon, and he just lodges it through his mouth. But he's like acting like a baby, just like hitting the table and shit like that.
Right.
Yeah, like as you said, like they're not just mindless zombies. They're kind of aware to a certain point, but I mean, they still are zombies. So
right. One thing I forgot when I was watching it recently is how kind of perverted some of the humor is. Some of the jokes are very, very risque, like sexual jokes, and I didn't remember that.
I'll be needing a few stiff drinks after this. Would you care to join me? You look like you could do with a bit of a stiff one yourself.
When the scene when Lionel and Paquita are at the zookeeper is very inappropriate. He makes a comment about, being with the monkeys sexually. I don't know where this is going to show, so I don't want to say it.
Story goes, these great big rats come scuttling off the slave ships and raped all the little tree monkeys. The natives use them in black magic rituals.
Really?
Yeah. Don't ask me how. Probably suck the blood of virgins, eh?
I want to sit down.
There's another part with Lionel's uncle that horrible bastard of a person, but he's a great character.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites in the movie.
Yeah, he makes a couple of comments. You're like, oh, that's kind of gross, but it fits his character. He's a sleazebag.
So you found your dad's old stag movies, hey? Is that the one with the donkey in the chamber, mate?
I'm not sure if you noticed, but I could be wrong, but did you notice if, like, every time they showed the uncle, like, he had more cold sores on his mouth? Yes. Is it okay? Yeah. All right, because that was something I kind of noticed. I guess we can kind of get into the characters.
Your mother ate my dog!
Not all of it.
I guess we'll just start with the uncle, because I think he's hilarious. I'm not sure what he's especially after.
I think he just wants money in the house.
Mother was always intending to leave me a bequest.
Oh?
Oh, yes. We talked about it many times. It was a foregone conclusion, really. It's just with her dying suddenly, she didn't get the chance to include me in her will.
What's his name?
Les is the name. I'm Lionel's. Lionel's uncle?
Yeah, and he's just a super over-the-top sleazeball guy. Has a great, like, thick New Zealand accent. When shit hits the fan, he's, like, the most into, like, hacking the zombies. He seems like he's the one that's having the most fun when the zombie outbreak is going on. I think also the mom, I think, is probably the best actress in the movie. She's really great. Her in that dinner scene with the custard and everything like that. Like, you just see her just slowly transforming into, like, this animal. She kind of always steals the scene when she's she's so over the top and, like, has, like, this soap opera-y evil mom quality to her that's a lot of fun.
I don't think you have any idea of the pain and anxiety you've caused me. I thought you were a trustworthy boy, but going out behind my back with that oily shop girl.
If there is a main villain in the movie, it's her. I mean, Uncle Les is kind of a secondary villain, but she's the top dog.
I thought I told you to spray this house. The place is infested with vermin.
I love what do you call it? The people that have that dinner meeting at the house, like she's calling. I think Lionel's talking about like, oh, we should cancel this. And she says something like,
it's the WLWL.
I guess we could get to just Lionel. He's also really great in the movie. He's so like pathetic but sympathetic at the same time, which makes the famous lawnmower scene like just so much fun to watch. It's his hero moment, but it's just in this over the top sense, and
he even gets a cheesy Arnold Schwarzenegger type, one liner.
Yeah, what is it?
Party's over.
And then lastly, we just Paquita. She plays the part pretty damn well. She plays like the over the top foreign person in the movie.
The little Latin number with a cute bum.
It is what it is, but it's still entertaining to watch, and she plays it really well. And she does like kick ass when she needs to. So. One thing I noticed too, upon rewatching, was just the attention to the sound effects.
She's been bitten! You know what that means? She's gonna turn into one of them!
Every bite sound, every sound of something oozing is super, like, just, you can just hear the thickness of it. One of the best grosser parts in the movie, the nurse, the Pez dispenser head nurse. Yeah. When he's like, I think in the same dinner scene, she's trying to eat the custard, it pours through her neck, and he just he lifts up the thing, and he's just splattering like pudding in her hole. There's such like an emphasis on like the grossness of that sound effect.
Yeah, the sound effects, they take the visual, from a 10 to an 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
If you watch it on mute, it's not the same experience. So, I mean, the special effects you had mentioned, I mean, it's basically all practical effects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all he had the budget for. That entire scene towards the end in the house with all the zombies with the house party.
Yeah.
Before the lawnmower scene, they were just so creative in thinking of the kills. The light bulb in the head.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
That was great. You've got the guy's head. It's like basically his jaw's missing. So his head is up, and they're just like tossing it around the floor like a hockey puck.
Yeah, I love that with half head guy. They really drag that joke out a little bit. Like that head shows up in different parts in that scene without it just being like, killed right away. When Lionel first comes out with the lawnmower, the head itself is by the door and it opens and it slides to Paquita and whatever the other girl's name.
It's me, Rita.
One of my favorite ones is some guy's trying to get pulled out of like a little hole or something like that. The door shuts down. They angle it so there's the rest of his body is just like a gory skeleton, so he just kind of dangles.
Oh, yeah.
It's a splatter movie that needs an abundant supply of amputated limbs and liters of fake blood. Plenty of gore and body bits.
We mentioned how this movie was influenced by Evil Dead. Did you ever watch Ash vs. Evil Dead, the TV show?
I think just the first season, I think.
Okay. So basically what I'm getting at is Dead Alive was influenced by Evil Dead. I think that Ash versus Evil Dead was influenced by Dead Alive.
Right.
So it comes full circle because there's a scene in Dead Alive where one of the zombies, it's like just his digestive system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just his butthole.
Right.
Basically, they're fighting his butthole.
Yeah.
There's a similar kind of sequence in Ash versus Evil Dead, which again, it's so gross. It's so, there's no need for it, but it's just, it's totally potty humor, but I'm for it.
Oh God, I'm in the butt.
I love how they give the butthole like its own kind of personality and character.
Yes.
There's a part where I think it like licks itself in the mirror, kind of just does like a little thing, and
yeah.
Oh, it's great.
It's great. There's just this little butthole puppet.
Just farting and,
Yeah. Didn't the baby kind of like tear a guy's head?
The girl.
The girl, yeah. He was
the,
inside of her head or something, and he and he's just going the whole time.
Yeah,
it's so creepy.
But also, like, that shot too is great because it's similar to the hand through the woman's face thing. It's just like a simple cut. I think she's like doing this or something like that, and then just cuts, and they just see like the splitting.
It's really great filmmaking.
It really is. Okay, I think people, when they think great filmmaking, they think of it has to be like this snooty kind of artsy bullshit. But I think something like this, like just as far as like the camera tricks and all that stuff, like it does take some genius to do.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of this kind of stuff that's made very poorly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the whole thing about splatter horror movies or like slasher movies, the idea is there's such a rabid fan base. So there's an incentive to make the crappiest movie you can. So it takes something to make, we're still watching Dead Alive, 30 years later.
Yeah.
There's something to that. It's well made.
The director has stated that this will be primarily remembered in years to come for its subtlety and sensitive direction, and I trust him.
We mentioned the lawnmower scene, but we haven't really talked about it.
Yeah, I guess we can kind of get into that.
Party's over.
Talking about practical effects, I love the effect where the lawnmower is just face up with the blade spinning, and then there's the torso.
Yeah.
I thought that was really effective and very clever. The amount of just gore and blood and just disgusting mess that this lawnmower creates it's wonderful. Again, if this is your thing.
This movie's definitely good at one-upping itself. Like, when you think it's gonna get like, okay, this is the top of the outlandishness, it just keeps building up. I love how like the gore is just like pouring onto his face, like into his mouth. It's like thick. It kind of like looks like a cross between like, Ghostbusters slime, and like Nickelodeon slime.
Wow. Lisa, I really didn't see that coming.
We didn't talk about the Mega Mom.
Haven't seen Mum yet.
Oh yeah, was that like explained as to why that happens?
It was something to do with the chemicals in the basement. Just made her into a giant monster with giant hanging breasts and a monster face and
a giant
butt.
Oh my God, Becky, look at her butt.
I'm gonna say again, I've said Evil Dead a million times, but Evil Dead, kind of the claws, like Evil Dead.
I get kind of Alien 2 vibes from the mom.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, just like how she's sort of designed.
Get away from her, you bitch! Don't you touch her!
It's funny that she kind of regains the ability to communicate when she gets that big for some reason.
Come to mommy, Lionel.
Not explained, but I mean, it doesn't
need to
matter.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. As you said, the science wasn't really explained. When I first saw the movie, I didn't like that scene, to be honest.
Which one?
The scene with the giant mother. I was enjoying the carnage and the chaos in the kitchen and
Yeah.
the rest of the house and the lawn machine. I loved all that stuff. And then with the giant mom, I was like, I don't know. But on rewatch, I really appreciated it because you really need to have some kind of a resolution. Otherwise, all this stuff's happening for what? Again, with the mom being the main villain, you need Lionel to be able to kind of break away from her grasp.
All my life, you told me nothing but lies.
Yeah, she has like the final boss of a video game kind of purpose in that part.
Fuck this game, bro. Fuck this. I'm over it.
I guess we can get a little bit into like the story of like her dad and her mom, how it affected Lionel. It's not like that important as far as like the narrative of the story.
Right.
But it's just something that sort of like explains why Lionel has such a timidness with his mother.
You need that to make her more villainous.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if she's not that, then she's just an overbearing mother.
Yeah.
And you're killing her for, kind of for no reason. Well, I mean, I guess there is a reason she's a zombie, but...
Yeah, it makes her more evil than just being a bitch, I guess you could say.
Right.
Yeah.
How dare you speak to me like that?
But I do love that reveal of when he finds the chest towards the end. And there's like the little like pictures of like the dad. Was that... I'm not sure. Was that the dad's mistress or was that the mom?
It was the mom caught the dad with the mistress.
Okay, yeah.
So she like drowned them both in the bath.
Yeah. I just love...
Drowned the dad.
I just love the series of pictures as he's looking at them, and like they're having a picnic, and then one picture is just like her with a giant hot dog in her mouth or something like that.
Subtle.
Yeah, subtle. Again, just a fun little gag that they added for no reason, just to make it a fun movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right. I guess we could just end it. Any recommendation as to why people should check this out?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just think that if, some of the movies that we mentioned, if you're a fan of the Evil Dead series, if you're a fan of Reanimator, if you're a fan of Return of the Living Dead, Shaun of the Dead, any kind of horror comedy hybrid, Cabin in the Woods, if you like those kinds of movies where they're funny, they're horror movies, but they're funny, then I think you should definitely watch this.
If you're curious to see what Peter Jackson came from and you're not sure what movies to watch of his earlier stuff, would you say it would be a good first movie to watch of his early movies, or maybe?
Yeah, I would say so. I think this is probably the best of his early movies. Because if you start at the beginning, I like Bad Taste, but it's nowhere near as good as this one.
I don't remember that much of Bad Taste. I just remember there's a scene where they're eating like green vomit.
I see the gruel is ready.
It's definitely his first movie. You can tell.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're interested in seeing where he came from, I think you're right. I think this is a good place to start because it has the gore, but the comedy, and then it's starting to show some of his special effects, that him and his team are known for, and the camera work too.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a good example of that for sure.
We've got to get the body to the service.
All right, I guess we'll just end it there. We gave the movie praise. Check it out. Definitely recommend it. Any last words before we say goodbye?
Good talking to you. I love talking movies, so let's do it again.